Hey, welcome to another episode of Pike County Extension News. Today, Kristen Campbell is going to be talking about the partnerships, programs, and people of Pike County and some of the programs that have been happening in 2018. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome to another episode of Pike County Extension News. I'm Patrick Dangle, filling in for Tammy, and we're going to be talking with Kristen Campbell, who does a lot of different 4-H youth development programs. And she's going to be talking about the year 2018 and all the different activities, partnerships, programs, people that you have been involved with. Kristen, it's always a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks, Pat.
And I know that Tammy and yourself are very, very busy with a lot of different things. Tammy came on and talked about some of the programs she was involved with. And so let's talk a little bit. You are a 4-H youth development educator. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Okay, well, a lot of people associate 4-H with just the fair and just 4-H programs and dealing with the fair. But as a youth educator, I also have to go into the classrooms and teach educational programs that involve learning about, it can be about animals, about STEM projects, agriculture, which STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math projects. Just things to teach the kids about lifestyle and how to make life choices, all different kinds of programs.
And 4-H has been a part of your life, most of your life.
Yes, I started when I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
Yes.
And what were some of the projects that you were involved with?
I always took a market rabbit and a market hog and also a horse in 4-H.
Ah, very good, very good. Yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier about some of the horses, and it's we city people only see horses from movies and westerns, etc. I bet you they're really nice animals. Maybe I can get one and put it back in the shed that I have in the back of my house.
Well, it needs to be a big shed. One horse needs at least 2 acres of ground to eat on, unless you want to supplement hay and grain the whole year. So they are expensive animals. They take more care than people think. It's kind of like dogs and cats. You know, people always want an animal, but then they don't realize how much work it is to actually take care of them.
I understand. And probably an animal you don't want to take into the house.
No. If it was a mini, it would be all right. But
So your involvement with the 4-H program, tell us some of the things that you've been involved with. You brought some slide presentations. Maybe that'll be of some help too.
Well, sure. So I'm going to start with January, what we started with last year in January and February and what we covered. And so we have an annual extension conference every January. And last year we did community engagement and working with your partnerships. And then this year we did actually sustainability and resiliency, and it was a really great conference. We also judge like science fairs, and we have a scholarship review process where kids that are seniors in high school, they apply for scholarships through our office, and they have the opportunity to be able to get numerous scholarships through our office. We take the applications, and then the 4-H committee looks at them, and they have an apple pie scholarship, they have a 4-H committee scholarship, they have a Ron Pennington scholarship, a Back Hills Bunch scholarship, and the Ohio Valley Bank scholarship, which is our top scholarship, and it provides $3,500 to a high school senior. So that's quite a bit of money.
Now, the scholarships can be used at any university, or is that?
any university, whether it be for an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, or even we've had some that have applied to more like a trade that they went into mechanics, like diesel mechanics, and they can use it for that as well, as long as they're enrolled in higher education of learning.
Just out of curiosity, is there a deadline on the scholarships? Or?
Yes, it's February 5th, which should be next Monday, I believe. No, not next Monday. It's next Friday.
Week,
next week. And we look at different things, not just what they took in 4-H, but other leadership activities that they have done and other activities that they've been involved in, as well as their grade point average.
So a senior, it's good for a senior, but a junior also in high school should start planning on some of the scholarships. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. And so we have an achievement record that you can fill out, and it actually lists every single thing that you've done. And I recommend that you start it when you first start in 4-H. And the reason being is that sometimes you forget the things that you've done and the places that you've received over the years and the accomplishments that you've accomplished. So if you start at the beginning and you keep track, then you have that achievement record completed, and you can actually turn that into me. And at the state level, they have like Teen of the Year, and they have Teen of the Year in each of the categories for that are 4-H projects. So they have a lot of different opportunities for high school and high school students.
So in essence, January, February, you have like a science fair. You have Ohio Cartoons. What is that?
Okay, so when a youth under 18 violates the driving laws and they get pulled over and they get a ticket.
Our teenagers, our sons and daughters.
Right? And most of them are speeding. Imagine that, right? So whenever they get a ticket, the judge, they have to go in front of a judge, and the judge says that they have to complete a class called Cartoons. And I lead that. And I lead that class, and it's a 2-hour class, and we go over different things about distracted driving. We get to use what I call them the drunk goggles, where they can put on goggles to simulate different levels of.
I heard about those.
Yeah, they'll give you a headache if you keep them on for too long, definitely. And then they complete the course, and then I turn it back into the judge, and then that's part of their basically sentencing is that they have to complete this class.
And what is the policy 1.50?
Okay, so to be a volunteer and to work for Ohio State with the youth, then you have to do a policy, which is policy 1.50, and it's actually child abuse prevention and neglect. So we have that training every year in February for all of our advisors, and we have over about 130 different volunteers. So our agency would not work, 4-H would not work without our volunteers.
So you're absolutely correct. And so it's a training program for individuals to keep the kids safe.
Absolutely, and to know what they're looking for and how to report if they suspect that there is child abuse. And it's not just physical abuse, but it's emotional and mental abuse as well. So it lets the volunteers know what they're supposed to be looking for.
So January and February, that seems like a very active 2 months.
Well, it's all active. I thought that there would be a little bit of lay down time when I applied for the job, but honestly, we go year round and we stay busy. So when we get to March and April, we had a really great time in March and April with the classes. So I was in a lot of the different schools, but up in the top picture there, you see the commissioners, our county commissioners there, Blaine, Mr. Beekman, Mr. Foster, and Mr. Montgomery. So those are our 4-H members, and the first week of March is usually Ohio 4-H week.
Okay.
So we go to the commissioners and we watch them do basically how they proceed with parliamentary procedure, because that's important for them to understand with local government.
Yeah, I think that's a great program.
So we go and we do that, and they sign a proclamation that says that the first week of March is Ohio 4-H week. So it's always right before our enrollment, which is this year, March 15th is our enrollment deadline. And we try really hard to recruit kids to join 4-H and to be a part of such a great organization.
Kristen, something caught my eye. Chick Quest.
Chick Quest. This is one of our most popular programs. And so what I do is I order eggs. So we order the eggs and I take them to classrooms with incubators. And we talk about all the different things with chicks and how to raise them. So they find out that the gestation period is 21 days for the egg to be hatched, and then for the egg to hatch from the time that it is laid. And they find out about how to care for the chicks, but also the embryology of it, how the chick grows in that egg.
Yeah.
So they find,
Now my wife, when she was teaching, did quail, and that was quite an experience.
Oh yeah.
She found out the first year quails can jump.
Yes.
Well, that sounds like a neat program.
It is, and the kids love it. They enjoy it. I did from first grade all the way through seniors, and you modify the curriculum to meet the classroom's needs and what they can understand. So they really had a great time.
Oh, very good, very good.
We had lots of chicks.
And so that's March and April. What about the June and July or May?
Well, in May is when we really start getting busy. We have to do, for first-time horse exhibitors, we have to do safety clinics. They have to, every child that shows a horse has to wear a helmet if they are in 4-H. It's a rule, it's a state rule. We also got our summer intern, Madison Conley. We have a lot of banquets and scholarship presentations. We have our large animal tag-in, where hogs, goats, and lambs all come to the fairgrounds and we tag them in. We also have Counselor College. Down here in the bottom is our counselors that we have for camp.
Okay.
They learn how to be camp counselors, and in this
that's a lot of counselors.
We had 120 there. And so in this picture they actually the Krav Maga, which is a organization that helps teach kids how to respond to active threats. He came and he trained them on how to respond. The kids loved it, and I think they learned a lot. We have horse clinics that we do in May. We also have our this was weather fun. So the top picture is our clover buds. So there are kids that are not in fifth grade, that are 5 up to 2nd grade, and they came and they learned all about the different seasons and about the different weather, and they did experiments. They made snow. They were able to form tornadoes. They were able to do weather journals, and they made rain sticks for all the different seasons.
You know, Kristen, many people think that 4-H is just about farm life,
right?
And it's really not.
No.
Farm is the agriculture is just one component. You know, I look at Rockets Away, and you know, there's science and technology.
Absolutely.
So it's a great set of programs.
And our Rocket Away program is actually, they build bottle rockets. So they take a 2-liter bottle, and we did this with the 3rd grade at Jasper. And they design it the way that they want to. They put the wings on it, and they put weights on it to see how it would go, and they're allowed to put them wherever they want because it's their rocket. But as you know, in science, any little variable can change change the change the outcome. So we were there on a windy day, so a lot of our rockets shot off with the wind, and I think our highest one, I think it shot about 80 feet into the air. So they did a really good job with that.
Now, when you say rockets, I'm looking at bottle rockets. I'm looking at those thin, where you light them and then they.
We don't use any fire.
Okay.
So what we use is an air pump.
Oh, okay.
And there's a little mechanism that we have, and we set the 2-liter bottle. We put water in it so that it seals around it, and then we apply obviously as much pressure, different amounts of pressure to see if it causes it to go higher or lower.
Okay.
And also we put in different amounts of water because it has to lift and propel, right? So it's.
So you want to do that on a warm day?
Oh yes, and I made the mistake doing it in the fall this year too, and I was a little soaked. So in December, so that's another great program that we have. And
so June and July, I'm assuming that's when the kids are off school. Is there a lot of activity going on?
You would think there wouldn't be as much, but there is. So when they're out of school, when the kids are out of school, we really buckle down on our 4-H stuff and the requirements for our 4-H program. So every youth that exhibits a market animal has to do quality assurance.
I see.
So we offer several of those sessions for quality assurance, and that's basically to teach the kids how to properly take care of their animals, and ethics and welfare of the animals. We also have our market chick pickup, where the kids that show market chickens, they come and pick up their chicks. They get 6 chicks apiece, and sometimes they pick the grand champion. Well, we always have one that picks the grand champion, but they're just only 2 days old when we get them. We judge other still project judgings, go to other fairs to judge for them. We also had a dog show. We had another cartoons class. We do our apple pie judging. And when I say the apple pie judging, that was for our apple pie scholarship. The 4-H clubs make an apple pie, and then we pick the top 5, and then those top 5 are announced not until our fair.
So do you need judges for that?
Well, we can always use an extra judge. I will keep you in mind, Pat. They're pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Come hungry, though, because you have to try 15 pies.
Sure, no problem. I have my own pie fork. So August and September, I would imagine, is very active also.
Yes, but let me go back to June just real quick. So in June, we have all of our 4-H camps. So we start with STEM camp, which is science, technology, engineering, and math camp. And those little kids that are up in the middle picture there, they made a rain collection system. So that's part of their engineering project. We also do skillathons, and we have our project book interviews, and we have our still project judging, which is the projects that aren't market animals, but they are cooking and nutrition and clothing projects and science projects, and then that's a picture of our chicks too. And we have our other camps, beginner camp, junior high camp, and teen camp, all out at Canner's Cave.
Yeah, I bet you that's a lot of fun. August and September, kids are raring to get back to school.
Well, not until after the fair's over. So we have our fair, it's the last full weekend of July into the first week of August. And it was our 106th fair this year, and we had a great time. The kids learned a lot. They showed their animals. We had Tyler Childers, which was a great success as our entertainment. We also did several other things in August and September. We had our rural family safety days, and I want to give a shout out to Jeff and Tammy because they got selected to go to the National Farm Bureau conference. They got to go to the National Farm Bureau Conference in New Orleans and present their Rural Family Safety Day. So that was a large honor because it was the national conference. We also did the celebrity chef. I was a celebrity chef. I made kind of like pigs in a blanket, but with croissants and sausages and sauerkraut because it was a German theme. So we had
sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. And so we started back to school, and at the school I did a project called Chocolate science.
Chocolate science.
Yeah, so we learned about all the different types of chocolates that you have and what's good for you, what's not good for you, their nutritional value, and the kids got to taste all the different chocolates. Obviously, pure cocoa, they did not care so much for.
Yeah, but you obviously need someone to assist you when you do the chocolate thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So in October, we had a national conference this year, and it was in Columbus, and Ohio hosted. So we were really busy at our national conference helping out and doing things. And of course, we had committees because we were the host state. And so that was the first week of October. So I was in Columbus that whole week, and I met a lot of wonderful people from different states, Montana and California and Alaska, and they're all 4-H educators. So it was pretty nice to meet them and talk to them. And we also had a wildlife camp. We had our Science Alliance that actually is out here at the Department of Energy plant, where all the juniors come out to learn about science fields and science, technology, and engineering fields. And I think that there were about 2,100 juniors from local high schools that came to the Department of Energy plant.
Interesting.
We did some more Chick Quest trainings, and we did some more chocolate science trainings, and we also had our volunteer banquet, which is an appreciation banquet for all of our volunteers. And in there, that's starting from the right going left is Trish Welch with her 15 years, Trish with her 10-year, Missy Branham with her 15 years, Lori Barker with her 20-year plaque, Doris Ryder with her 30-year plaque, Sandy Rhinesmith and Kara Pfeiffer with their over 30 years experience plaque. So we really appreciate our volunteers.
So November and December, I would assume because of all the holidays, there's not much activities.
We're in the classrooms a lot.
Oh, okay.
So we also had this year a county VOAG day. So we took all of the VOAG students in the county.
VOAG.
Vocational agriculture students.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we looked at what their curriculum is, and we tried to use the things that they would need to know going into fields. So they had welding, they had recycling, they had foods, they had soil, they had agriculture, they had timber, and I was able to do, and this was my first time ever, making apple cider.
Apple cider.
Yes, I used the machine from the Eastern VOAG program, and I made apple cider, and I was able to educate the kids on where apple cider came from, how it used to be hard cider way back when it first started.
Hard cider is alcohol.
Okay. It's fermented cider.
Okay. Right.
And so the kids were really excited about listening to that, and I said, it was the most popular in that Johnny Appleseed was a real person.
Yeah.
He wasn't exactly how the tall tales talk about him, but he was a real person, and he did plant trees going west across the United States, and till the Prohibition, when they burn them all down, burn down all the apple trees down.
Did you get into how eventually apple cider gets to be made into vinegar?
No, we only had about a 20-minute period, so we had to kind of push through a little quicker than I wanted to.
Yeah.
The other things we did, and the kids love this, so it was Thanksgiving, and one of the things that is popular for Thanksgiving is giving thanks. So how do you give thanks? You break bread. So I went into the classrooms with several I went to Eastern, into Western, into Piketon, and we made bread, and they learned about giving thanks, and we made bread in a bag, and all the kids were able to make their bread there and take home a loaf of bread, and we also made butter to go with their bread. So
you made butter.
We made butter
from actual milk.
We made butter from heavy whipping cream.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I bet that would
added
be
a little salt to it to give it some flavor, and the kids absolutely love that warm bread, and then to put a little bit of butter on it. They thought it was wonderful. and I'm all about making them happy.
Now, just out of curiosity, when you go into the school systems, is it during the
school day? Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And
I'm working on trying to get some programs after school for some of the kids. I have not been able to do that yet, but I would love to do a program after school and work with the kids after school for an hour and a half. Some of the kids that are more disadvantaged and don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We only have about 2 or so minutes left. Of the different activities that you have been involved in, what are some of the favorites?
Some of my favorite activities?
Yeah.
Oh,
Boy,
wow.
You're involved in so many different things, etc. But is it showing animals? Is it? I would venture to say, as an educator, you look for the lights in the children's eyes, going, oh, "I didn't know that."
I will tell you some of my favorite activities is obviously watching accomplishment in the kids. The clover buds, when you do their clover bud interviews at the fair, and their little faces light up and they're presenting their projects and they're talking to you about it, and they are so proud of what they've done. It really warms my heart. The other ones are the kids that get to go to state fair with their still projects. When they win grand champion of their showmanship or outstanding livestock exhibitor, it really makes me believe that I do make a difference, and that's what matters. And even in the schools, when I get to talk to the different kids and I get to know more about them, and they open up to me and talk to me, and they learn something.
So very good.
Yes.
Very good. And if 4-H is just not for people that live in the rural area.
Oh, no.
It is for everyone.
Absolutely for everyone. There is a project for everyone. We have 228 projects.
Oh, wow.
So yes, if you can think about it, then you can do a project on it.
Well, I was really surprised when my children were growing up, and again, we live in the middle of the city. They got involved in 4-H, and they drew different things, and they got a trip up to the state fair.
Oh, absolutely.
And they still talk about that to this day.
We had this past year. We really did well at the state fair. We had 3 of our exhibitors that went to state fair that got the clock trophy, which is the highest award at the state fair, and several outstanding of the days. So one was in physics, one was in art, and the other one was in photography. So obviously that's a very proud moment for them.
That's true. Parents that when they're involved with kids going through schools, etc., they're always involved in different activities. 4-H is one of those activities that we encourage everyone.
Absolutely. It teaches them responsibility and life skills that will carry with them throughout their life.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, Kristen, I've really impressed with all the different things that you're involved with, and I really appreciate your bringing the slides and telling about some of the accomplishments that 4-H youth development has been involved in. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Pat. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm Patrick, and of course, Kristen Campbell. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.